So CUPID is something that I dreamed up at 3 a.m. After taking another course. And I'm really excited about it because it's about stories. And I feel like, especially when we're talking about difficult things, stories are our best way of communicating with each other when we might be disconnected. And what is exciting about CUPID is that it's not just sort of some story on YouTube or Netflix. It's our story. It's Pitt's story. And that's what really made me excited about it. And then I think if we can pair these stories with some literary theory and sort of structure and abstract concepts behind them, then we'll all have the same language to really start this DEI work as a Pitt community as a whole.
So the culture within education, within academia, within Pitt, it's not just Pitt, it's probably across the board, is a little bit difficult, specifically for folks that aren't white presenting, specifically for folks that aren't cishet, right? I think that the purpose of this is really to begin having difficult conversations, but we can't do that if we are not all starting from the same place, which is that we've done the work to identify who we are, how we show up, what maybe some of those triggers are when people begin talking to us or speaking to us, and how we can best humanize one another. And I think that CUPID goes a good distance in doing that. And I think that the entire university's culture will be able to benefit from the work that we do in this project.
I'm very hopeful, but I'm also very excited because, like I said, it's not that the university or the community has not taken any steps towards bringing more DEI initiatives within the community, but this project makes it very, very accessible. And that is something that I'm really excited about because, you know, one of the biggest things that you hear from staff and faculty in terms of doing programs outside of their work requirements, they just don't have the time for it. And this sort of creates that ability where you can do it on your own time.
So 6 months ago, CUPID was kind of like, it was us getting excited for people to tell us their stories more about, at least to me, it was more about, you know, race, ethnicity, gender. And kind of, you know, like that was about it for me. That's all I thought it was. But then when you get people's stories, and you interview a whole diverse population of people, it turns out to be something completely different. We're learning about what teethism, we coined the term teethism. We learned about about people's identity when it comes to what hand they use, or you know, whether they're right-handed or left-handed, or whether they're an introvert or extrovert, things like that you don't necessarily expect, and things with people who have, I don't know what to call them, like combined differences, just different identities that have a really big impact on their life. So I think to me it just became a lot more than what we expected, and we're learning as we're doing the interviews. So 6 months ago, I think it was simpler. Now it's more complex, but I think we're still learning, you know, and we're interviewing different people, and every time I interview somebody, I learn something completely different.
Very rewarding, I've learned a lot. I thought I was someone who understood a lot of perspectives. I thought I was someone who's, you know, because of a lot of traveling and because of a lot of meeting new people, I thought that, you know, I knew it all, but that's very, very far from the real truth. I think hearing a lot of the stories that we've heard from different individuals in CUPID, I think what I've come to realize is how little I actually know in terms of perspectives and in terms of how I can, you know, how my perspectives are probably still very, very limited. And a lot of these stories are exposing me to things that I didn't even know existed.
I remember in 2016 feeling incredibly hopeless and disenfranchised and worried for the world that we were going to be living in. And this project gives me hope that despite our struggles as a country and a world, that there can be light and beauty and kindness. And that's really what we want to project, is that we're all in this together. And so let's hear each other's stories, let's learn together, and let's develop a way to move forward together as one community.